Welcome to all our friends who have joined our webinar. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. Quite a few of our friends are still joining in. We'll just wait a couple of minutes and soon start with the webinar. Thank you to all our friends who have joined. We'll start with the webinar session. Thank you. तो आज हम लोग एक इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक के ऊपर डिस्कशन करते हैं. आई हैव टेकन क्वाइट अ फ्यू एग्जांपल्स एज वेल. So today we'll be discussing regarding managing risk while trading in options. Especially हमारा पूरा मेन फोकस इंडेक्स ऑप्शंस पे ही रहेगा. And we'll be discussing regarding how you can manage your risk. अलग अलग टाइप के रिस्क कैसे होते हैं, how to determine कि कितना मूवमेंट हो सकता है फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम फ्रेम. तो ये सारे पॉइंट्स के ऊपर हम लोग आज के सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन किसी को भी कोई भी क्वेरीज है रिगार्डिंग दी पर्टिकुलर सेशन, प्लीज फील फ्री टू आस्क योर क्वेरीज एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन. तो आज के सेशन में हम लोग ये सारे टॉपिक्स कवर करने वाले. फर्स्ट, वॉलेटिलिटी क्या होता है, उसका मीनिंग क्या है वॉलेटिलिटी का. बहुत बार हम लोग मैगजीन्स में, टीवी पे ये पर्टिकुलर टर्म को सुनते हैं, वॉलेटिलिटी. सो लेट अस जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड द टाइप्स. डिफरेंट टाइप के वॉलेटिलिटी कैसे होते हैं. एक रहता है इम्प्लाइड वॉलेटिलिटी जो ऑप्शंस में रहता है, और एक हिस्टोरिकल वॉलेटिलिटी रहता है जो प्रीवियस हिस्टोरिकल डेटा के हिसाब से रहता है. सो विल डिस्कस अ बिट रिगार्डिंग द टाइप्स ऑफ वॉलेटिलिटी इन द मार्केट. उसके अलावा ऑप्शंस जब भी आप ट्रेड कर रहे हो, स्पेशली इंडेक्स ऑप्शन, किस तरह के रिस्क जनरली होते हैं एंड फिर उसको मैनेज कैसे किया जा सकता है. अगर अलग अलग टाइप के रिस्क हैं, व्हाट आर द टूल्स टू मैनेज देम. इंट्राडे में अगर है तो व्हाट इज द की टूल्स टू मैनेज द इंट्राडे पोजीशन. एंड अगर पोजिशनल है, अगर आपका ऑप्शन जो है वो आप कैरी फॉरवर्ड करना चाहते हो, द व्हाट आर द वेरियस टाइप ऑफ स्ट्रेटजीज यू शुड कंसिडर. इसके अलावा we'll also discuss regarding key points to take note of while trading in index options. कौन से स्ट्राइक्स को जनरली कंसिडर करना चाहिए, इसके बारे में भी आज डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड लास्ट में हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे दी की पॉइंटर्स टू टेक नोट ऑफ. जब भी आप इंडेक्स डेरिवेटिव्स में कर रहे हो काम, तो क्या पॉइंट्स को हमेशा ध्यान में रखना चाहिए, इसको भी हम लोग एंड में एक बार डिस्कस कर लेंगे. Yeah, so let's get started with today's session without wasting any further time. So first is volatility. Volatility को हम लोग एक सिंपल भाषा में समझते हैं एग्जांपल्स के साथ. तो मार्केट वॉलेटिलिटी रिफर्स टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ द प्राइस फ्लक्चुएशन फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक पीरियड. ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि अलग अलग स्टॉक का अलग अलग टाइम फ्रेम में वॉलेटिलिटी अलग रह सकता है. सो इफ यू आर कंपेयरिंग अ पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक, दो स्टॉक को अगर आप कंपेयर कर रहे हो, यू शुड कंपेयर इट ओवर अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम फ्रेम. मतलब अगर लास्ट 6 महीने में आप एक पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक को कंपेयर करके, सपोज आईटीसी और कंपेयरिंग विद एनी अदर स्टॉक, आईटीसी बाय नेचर इज अ लेस वॉलेटाइल स्टॉक. वो एक डिफेंसिव काउंटर है. उसमें दिन का जो मूवमेंट जो रहता है एक पर्टिकुलर ट्रेडिंग सेशन में, द मूवमेंट इज क्वाइट लेस. बट इफ यू कंसिडर सम अदर मिड कैप स्टॉक, जैसे कि मास्गोडॉक या सीडीएसएल या फिर पिरामल एंटरप्राइजेस या फिर अदानी एंटरप्राइजेस, ये सारे स्टॉक्स काफी ज्यादा वॉलेटाइल है इन कंपैरिजन टू आईटीसी. So that is the basic understanding of volatility. See, volatility is a very useful thing for a trader. अगर वो stock volatile नहीं है, it is very difficult to capture the price action. अगर एक पूरा दिन अगर एक स्टॉक आईटीसी जैसा स्टॉक 1% के अंदर ट्रेड होता है, 1% मतलब सिर्फ 4-4.5 पॉइंट्स, वाइल अ स्टॉक लाइक अदानी, पिरामल एंटरप्राइजेस, मैसगांव डॉक, ये लगभग 3 से 4% का मूवमेंट जनरली देखा जाता है. उनका कैंडल्स भी बड़े बड़े रहते हैं. So it is slightly easier to capture the price action. That is what is extremely important for a trader. So do not get scared of volatility. Volatility में ही opportunities आता है, and that is the main important thing to understand. Benefiting from the volatility. If like आज का अगर कोई इंडेक्स में ट्रेड कर रहा रहेगा, today was an extremely dull day for the markets. भले ही आज इंडेक्स का मतलब निफ्टी का वीकली ऑप्शंस था, एक्सपायरी था सॉरी, but still the markets were extremely dull. Right from 9:30 till 3:30 निफ्टी ट्रेडेड एक्सट्रीमली रेंज बाउंड. एक 50-60 पॉइंट के अंदर ही पूरा दिन निफ्टी इंडेक्स ट्रेड कर रहा था. सो इन सर्टेन डेज लाइक दिस it is extremely tough to get opportunities to trade, but on days like this you should also know that अगर आप इंडेक्स में ट्रेड कर रहे हो, it is better to be on the sideline, क्योंकि कोई भी डायरेक्शन में आपको पॉइंट्स मिलने का कोई चांस नहीं था. आज अगर आप पुट ऑप्शंस में भी लेते या कॉल ऑप्शंस में, barring 1-2 trades, there was hardly any movement which was seen in the market. So first understand that volatility is your friend. अगर stock या index volatile है, then you get opportunities to trade either on the bullish side या bearish side. That trend we do not know, but as long as the stock or the index is volatile, you will bound to get more trading opportunities in the market. See, volatility can come from a lot of factors. So when we saw that that Russia has a war with Ukraine, or the Israel Hamas war, or when Donald Trump elections were going on, and now when his swearing in is also there on 20th of this particular month, post his swearing in, definitely the markets during his previous term, अगर किसी को भी याद रहेगा, the markets were much more volatile, because by nature these are factors which cause an impact on the market. So war, major elections in major countries, then major economic events जैसे RBI policy हो या Fed का policy हो, if there is any major या drastic change in the commentary, see now more or less everyone is able to predict कि RBI 25 basis points से rate hike करेगा या कम करेगा. The more focus nowadays is on the commentary which the particular head of the RBI gives or the Federal Bank gives, to state what is the future course of action, or what is that they are looking for the next 6 months. So that is where the markets generally tend to react on, as well as company specific news. कोई कंपनी के रिगार्डिंग कोई स्पेसिफिक न्यूज आ जाता है, that also causes huge volatility in the underlying stock. So these are the main factors generally on a day-to-day basis that we see which bring about price action or volatility in the market. Now we have also recently introduced the Sensex options, so our clients can trade in this particular segment as well. See, post Bank Nifty going out of the picture, see Bank Nifty was the one of the most volatile instruments in trade in. बहुत सारे लोगों को Bank Nifty में trade करना बहुत पसंद था, because the type of price action or movement that it is to give on a daily basis was much more higher compared to Nifty. And now once Bank Nifty is out of the picture, a lot of people will be slowly shifting towards trading in Sensex options. Still there are a bit of spikes when you're trading in Sensex options, but gradually as the volumes tend to increase, a lot of traction or a lot of interest will come in this particular segment, because Sensex ka 1% movement is almost 700, 800 points in one direction. So if you are able to capture even half of that, you are able to pocket a lot of money. So this is one segment where we anticipate a good amount of interest coming in the future. In the current month also, we have a full webinar where we'll be explaining regarding Sensex options, what are the key things to track, where you can see the key data regarding the particular underlying. So do join in for that particular session as well. But I just wanted to highlight in terms of volatility, what I mean is the size of the candle on a particular day. I am not saying you are able to predict the direction, but if you know the underlying by nature volatile है, तो आपको मालूम है अगर आप उसको ट्रैक कर रहे हो, डेफिनेटली एक डे में you will get multiple opportunities to trade either on the long side or on the short side. Now let us have a look at India VIX. This is one way to predict the movement or the expected movement that traders have on the market. See, India VIX को fear index भी कहा जाता है, because whenever the VIX tends to rise on the upside, the volatility in the markets also tend to increase. And when the volatility tends to increase, the price action or the movement in the markets also tend to surge or be on the upside. अगर आपको याद है, कोविड के टाइम पे वॉलेटिलिटी दैट इज इंडिया विक्स हैड ऑलमोस्ट शॉट अप टू 80-85 लेवल्स ऑन द अपसाइड. जो करंट अगर आप वैल्यू देखोगे इंडिया विक्स का, दैट इज करंटली एट 15 लेवल्स. सो इट इज सिग्निफिकेंटली लोअर, बट दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन द हिस्टोरिकल रेंज. ऑफ लेट इट इज जनरली बीन बिटवीन around 11 to 16 is the range which we have seen for India VIX, and from a very long time the index has been trading extremely range bound. Previously when we had इलेक्शंस, अगर आपको याद रहेगा, जब ये 2024 में हमको इलेक्शंस था, दैट टाइम इंडिया विक्स हैड शॉट अप टू लेवल्स ऑफ 30-35 लेवल्स. व्हाट इंडिया विक्स इज बेसिकली टेलिंग अस इज, अगर विक्स 15 का लेवल का है, इट इज टेलिंग अस दैट इन द नेक्स्ट 1 year the markets can move by about 15% in either direction. Direction नहीं बता रहा है, but it is telling that the index can move by levels of 15% in the next 1 year in either direction. So how we make use of this is we have to divide 15 by the square root of 12. So अलग अलग time frame का अगर आपको data चाहिए, you have to divide it by that particular time frame. So now let us suppose we want कि अगले एक महीने में index कितने % से ऊपर या नीचे जा सकता है. So what you basically do is you divide 15 by the square root of 12. So that's where you get a figure like 4.33. तो बहुत सारे traders ये particular figure को use करके they do option writing above that particular zone. तो अगर index currently 23,300 पे, so 4% on the downside, 4% on the upside. The premiums may be less, but at least it gives you a good understanding of कि market उस range से बाहर there is a probability. These are not certain things, these are all probability, but that's how you come up with your view. You take a lot of factors and then you come up with your view, and India VIX is one such tool which helps you to predict कि index कितने % के range में रह सकता है over a period of time. So currently the VIX values which are there is at 15. So imagine at the time of COVID this was 85 divided by the square root of 12. That's where the type of movement it was expecting in one particular month. We were witnessing almost 10-15 type % movement in a particular week itself. That was the type of volatility that was there in the market that time. So this is how you can make use of VIX to anticipate the volatility. VIX also has an inverse correlation with Nifty. तो इसका ये मतलब है जब भी इंडिया विक्स ऊपर की तरफ जाता है, there is panic in the market, and the markets generally tend to be on the downside. I'll just tell you very simple why India VIX has an inverse correlation with Nifty. A lot of people will already be knowing it, but I'll just explain it for the benefit of all our friends who have joined. See, VIX जो है, it is based on out of the money options of the next month contract, and VIX can rise. VIX का जो value है, it can rise anytime. It means it can rise if there is sharp buying of call options or there is sharp buying of put options. But in general, people generally do not go and buy in panic call options. More or less, it is always buying of put options. Majority of the time, सबका portfolio जो रहता है, it be on the long side. ये fund managers का भी जिनका भी portfolio सब रहता है, majority of the portfolios are on the long side. So when the markets are gradually rising on the upside, no one has much fear or panic in the market. Everyone is happy and things are going good. The real tension which comes about is when there is negative news or a major event which comes about, or there is sharp selling pressure which is there in the market. At that point of time, there is aggressive buying of put options to hedge your existing portfolio, or you have a bearish view on the market. And that is the time when India VIX tends to spike up. So I hope everyone understood that VIX, this is why India VIX tends to have an inverse correlation with Nifty. That's why if there is a sharp buying of options, it could be either call options or put option, but VIX tends to spike. but majority of the time we have seen there is panic. When there is panic, it is due to sharp buying of put options, which leads to a correction in the market. The other one method for identifying the particular range of the market or understanding the volatility of the market is by another method known as implied volatility. IV जो हम लोग कहते हैं एक particular option का. See, volatility दो type के होते हैं. One is historical volatility, which is based on the historical data. मतलब last एक महीने में ITC कितना movement दिया है, that you make use of the basic formula, historical volatility का formula use करके you can calculate the range that you expect from the current market price based on historical data. इसको हम लोग historical volatility कहते हैं. The other type of volatility is there is based on the option buying. कभी भी एक option में sharp buying of option या selling of options होता है, then we see the particular IV हम लोग कहते हैं implied volatility which is there, which is a component of the option. Based on that we try to compute the range for the market. तो ये NSE के ऑप्शन चेन में ही आपको दिख जाएगा. कोई भी आप सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहे हो या NSE के वेबसाइट पे भी अगर आप जाओगे, यू कैन सी वन पर्टिकुलर कॉलम विच स्टेट्स दैट इट इज द IV. तो आप क्या कर सकते हो, एट द मनी ऑप्शन का यू कैन कैलकुलेट द IV. तो करंटली निफ्टी जो है दैट इज एट लेवल्स ऑफ 23,300. So what we basically do is we calculate the IV of at the money call option and put option, दो जो वैल्यू है उसको हम लोग ऐड कर देते हैं एंड देन यू डिवाइड इट बाय 2. सो करंटली जो IV है निफ्टी का, दैट इज ये मंथली ऑप्शन का मैंने निकाला है. वीकली का तो आज एक्सट्रीमली रेंज बाउंड था तो ये बहुत कम वैल्यू था, बट इफ यू टेक द मंथली वैल्यू वी आर मेकिंग यूज ऑफ इट टू डिटरमाइन द रेंज. सो व्हाट यू डू इज you divide it by the जो figure आपको आता है, that is currently we get the IV average IV for the at the money strike price, that is 13.95. now what we do is we divide 13.95 by the square root of 12 because ये monthly option है. अगर आपका weekly का अगर आप लोग डेटा निकाल रहे, आपको पर्टिकुलर वीक में जानना है कि कितने से इंडेक्स मूव हो सकता है, then what you do is you divide by the square root of 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year. So if you do that, you will get the approximate weekly range that is expected for the market based on the volatility, implied volatility. So this is one method where traders use to determine the range for a particular time frame, and then they do option writing based on the range. तो अगर traders को लग रहा है ये particular level के ऊपर index नहीं जाएगा, then they generally tend to sell the options above that particular strike price. So this is the other method of determining the range for the market, that is through the implied volatility. Now coming to the major challenges while trading options. तो अगर जो भी options trade कर रहे हैं, they must have most of the time faced these 4 problems. One is market risk. अचानक से निफ्टी में या बैंक निफ्टी में या सेंसेक्स में एक 100-200 पॉइंट का करेक्शन आ जाता है, पूरा ट्रेंड ऊपर की तरफ लग रहा है, लेकिन सडनली ड्यू टू अ पर्टिकुलर न्यूज और पर्टिकुलर इवेंट suddenly a 100-200 point correction comes and the option spikes within a fraction of a second. We witness a sharp movement in the option prices. There is nothing that a trader can do to prevent this because we have to trade the underlying as it is. Even though we may feel cheated or we may feel that अरे पूरा ट्रेंड एक डायरेक्शन था और सडनली एक 200 पॉइंट का करेक्शन कैसे आ गया. It is the underlying, by nature it is volatile. What best you can do is you have to maintain the stop loss. There is no other solution to it. You are doing any type of trading, अगर आप spread में भी कर रहे हो या फिर one directional trading कर रहे हो, the only tool to protect you from such sharp movement is a stop loss. The other thing is volatility risk. Suddenly news comes out that there is a major event which is happening or some major event happens which causes a sharp change in the volatility and the option prices tend to spike. The another problem that traders face is time decay. जैसे कि आज के सेशन में अगर आप किसी ने भी ऑप्शन बाय किया होता तो कॉल साइड पे भी ऑप्शन प्रीमियम which we saw witnessed a sharp decline on the downside, and even if you bought a put option there was no direction for the market. It was an absolutely range bound session. I have the slide next slide में आप देख सकते हो what was the price action. So traders have to understand also. See, you may from the first or second trade आपको पता चल जाएगा कि आज का सेशन कैसा है. See, after the first call that we gave, we understood that today is an extremely range bound movement for the market. So that's why we never gave any other index option, because in any direction if we gave, it was more a chance of the stop loss being triggered. There was no follow up move in either direction. So within the first 2 or 3 trades itself, you will come to know whether today is a volatile trading session, you will get multiple opportunities, or it is going to be an extremely range bound session. Many times you may get tricked into trading. A breakout may come and then it may be a false breakout, but if you constantly observe the markets, you will get a good grip of the understanding of today, whether it is a volatile session or it is expected to be relatively range bound. So time decay is the enemy of an option buyer. It is the benefit, it comes to as a benefit for the option seller. And the last risk is liquidity risk, exiting positions. See, Nifty, Bank Nifty, this is not a challenge. But if you're trading in slightly illiquid stock options, there you face the liquidity risk, because अगर आपका बड़ा position है और आपको position काटना है, there may be a challenge wherein the buyer and the seller may be at a difference. मतलब आपको 4 रुपए पे बेचना है, बट seller means the buyer will be at 3 रुपये 90 पैसे. So that is known as the impact cost. Without any fault of yours, you face a loss, because there is a difference, there is no liquidity, there is a difference between the buyer and the seller. The buyer will quote 3 rupee 90 paise and you want to sell at 4. Likewise, if you want to buy something at 4 rupees and if there is less liquidity, the seller will charge 5 rupee or 4 rupee 80 paise. That is known as impact cost. It generally happens in low liquid FNO counters. Nifty, Bank Nifty generally does not face this particular problem. Yeah, so this is the price action of today's chart. ये आज का निफ्टी का चार्ट है जो मैंने निकाला लास्ट में. So you can clearly see there was hardly any opportunity for the traders. We had given a put option in the early morning session. Post that there was absolutely no movement in the index, even though we can see a gradual pullback in the market. But if the movement comes this way, अगर इस टाइप का movement आता है, आपको भले ही लग रहा है कि निफ्टी ने एक 50-60 पॉइंट का रिकवरी किया है, लेकिन आपका ऑप्शन का प्राइस डे लो की तरफ ही रहेगा, बिकॉज the option prices move when there is swift movement of the underlying. If the underlying moves at a very gradual pace, your option prices will not witness any significant action. So this is what we witnessed. It was an extremely low premium day. ऑप्शन प्राइसेस देख के भी आपको एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग आना चाहिए कि आज एक वॉलेटाइल सेशन है या फिर एक एक्सट्रीमली रेंज बाउंड सेशन है. आज डे स्टार्ट होते ही 23,300 का कॉल ऑप्शन, एट द मनी कॉल ऑप्शन, जो जनरली 60-70 रुपीज सब रहता है, दैट वाज एट जस्ट अबाउट 30-25 रुपीज स्टार्ट से ही, डे के स्टार्ट से ही. सो वी मोर और लेस अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर इज वेरी लेस what even the option buyer or the option seller is getting, and from the premium price action itself you understand whether it is going to be a range bound session for the market. So here are a few tools to manage the risk जब भी आप options में trade कर रहे हो. Hedging is one such tool that you should always consider. Hedging it comes into picture अगर आप एक positional trader हो, options में आपको एक कैरी फॉरवर्ड करना है. सपोज आपको आज लग रहा है कि इंडेक्स जो है वो एक्सट्रीमली ओवरसोल्ड है एंड वी कुड सी अ रिकवरी टुवर्ड्स 23,500 लेवल्स. सो इधर से भी आपको लगभग एक 200 पॉइंट का रिकवरी अगर लग रहा है. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ बाइंग नेकेड कॉल ऑप्शंस, one thing that you can do is trade in the manner of spread strategy. So spread strategy is a very crucial thing, where extremely important when you are doing carry forward of the trade. अगर आप इंट्राडे ट्रेड कर रहे हो फिर भी आप स्टॉप लॉस के साथ ट्रेड कर सकते हो, लेकिन अगर आप वन डायरेक्शनल नेकेड कॉल ऑप्शन बाय करके अगर आप लेके जा रहे हो और कल वापस एक 150-200 पॉइंट का ओपनिंग में एक ओपनिंग होता है इंडेक्स का, योर टोटल प्रीमियम विल बी वाइप्ड आउट और बहुत कम टाइम रहेगा आपको डिसीजन लेने को कि वेदर आई शुड कंटिन्यू द पोजीशन और आई शुड क्लोज आउट द पोजीशन. So these are the major challenges that a trader faces while trading in the market. So one such tool to handle an overnight position when you're trading in options is doing a hedge trade. Hedge मतलब एक bull spread या फिर एक bear spread. This is one way to do option trading. अगर आपका फ्यूचर का पोजीशन है then you can buy a put option to hedge your long futures. The other important thing to do is position sizing. जब भी आपको मार्केट का ट्रेंड उतना समझ नहीं आ रहा है and the markets get extremely volatile, so that time it is better to reduce the position sizes as well, because we do not want major losses when the trend of the market is not clear. जब भी ट्रेंड वापस क्लियर हो जाएगा, that time we can consider to leverage and increase our risk taking appetite. So position sizing is also extremely important. The next is risk reward ratio. See, if a trader has a decent strike rate and he maintains a decent risk reward ratio in the long run, it is always that the trader can be a profitable trader. Maintaining the right risk reward is extremely important. See, एक दो trade में you can close out 5-6 point ऊपर, you can do that. But if you start doing that for every trade wherein your losses are 10 points but your profit is just 6 points, even if you have a strike rate of 70-85, you will end up on the losing side if you do so, because 1-2 trades major losses, if you do not maintain the right risk reward, your entire profits will be wiped out. So be consistent. It's a game of probability. पूरा trading जो है index options में या कोई भी underlying में, it is all about a game of probability. आपको ये नहीं सोचना कि यही ट्रेड से मेरे को पैसा निकालना है, आपको ये सोचना है कि अगले 20 ट्रेड या 50 ट्रेड में मेरे को कैसे हर एक ट्रेड को संभालना है, and how to come out profitable after 50 trades. Do not think of intraday trading as a one-day event or a short T20. Think of intraday trading also from a long-term perspective. Think that over the next 3 months, the positions that I take, I will maintain the appropriate risk reward and I will try to come out on the positive side. The other one is delta neutral strategies, जिसमें आपका रिस्क कम करते हो. सो डेल्टा न्यूट्रल इज रिड्यूसिंग दी मूवमेंट एज सच. सो अगर आपका डेल्टा जो कॉल का डेल्टा है, यू टेक अ पोजीशन, यू क्रिएट अ स्ट्रेटजी वेरिन you are reducing the delta movements. So that is what is known as delta neutral strategies, wherein you cannot have it completely hedged, your position or the strategy completely hedged, because then you will not be making any profit. मतलब 1:1 अगर आपका delta neutral strategies है, wherein you have hedged your position completely, then it does not make much sense. But it should be such that you are able to take the particular risk when taking a position. One method like I mentioned is spread strategies. Hedging के लिए अगर आपको overnight positions carry forward करना है, one such strategy is which you can do is spread strategies. तो spread strategies में basically अगर एक trader है, उसे लग रहा है कि जो index अभी 23,300 के levels पे है, if we feel that there could be a recovery in the market and the index can move towards 23,500 on the upside, then what the trader can do is simply buy the at the money call option and simultaneously sell a higher strike price. So you buy the 23,300 call option and we sell the 23,500 call option. So this is the basic strategy which is known as a spread strategy. जो difference है दोनों strike prices में, that is 200 points minus the total premium that you have paid. तो हमने suppose पे किया है 80 is the combined premium. मतलब हमने 23,300 का कॉल ऑप्शन बाय करने के लिए 100 रुपये दिए एंड 23,500 बेचने के बाद हमको 20 रुपीज आया इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्रीमियम. सो द कंबाइंड नेट प्रीमियम दैट वी हैव पेड इज 80. सो 80 into 75 इज द मैक्सिमम लॉस, क्योंकि हमने इतना अगर पैसा पे किया है, दैट इज द मैक्सिमम लॉस दैट यू कैन इनकर इन द पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड. सो 80 into 75, that is 6,000 rupees is your maximum loss for the particular trade. The maximum profit that you can earn if the index moves from 23,300 towards 23,500 levels is 120 points. So 120 into 75, that is the maximum profit that you can earn through this particular strategy. So you more or less know that this is my fixed loss and this is the maximum profit that I can earn to this particular trade. So if there is tomorrow, even if there is a gap down opening, your risk is limited to a large extent. So whenever you are doing trading in large quantities, it is ideal to consider spread strategies if you are doing overnight trading. The other important point is to note is what is your break-even point. So break even point is the actual premium जो आप भरते हो if you are holding your position till expiry. See, break even point concept which comes into play is if you hold your position all the way till expiry. अगर आप intraday कर रहे हो, you are basically worried about the premium fluctuations and price that you have paid. If you hold your position till expiry, you should be worried about the break even point concept. So break even point for call options is the strike price that you purchase plus the net premium that you have paid. So 80 is the net premium that we have paid. So 23,300 plus 80, that is 23,380 is our break even point in this particular strategy. Another method, what is the previous strategy that we discussed is a debit strategy. That means that we have to pay to implement that particular strategy. There are some traders who want to receive right at the start. उनको पैसा देना नहीं है, उनको पैसा collect करना है. That is known as a credit strategy. So a credit bull spread strategy is a strategy instead of buying call options. What we do is we sell the at the money put option, and to hedge it we buy an out of the money put option. So by selling an at the money put option we have a bullish view on the market. हमारा view bullish ही है, लेकिन this is a different type of strategy wherein you receive the premium. So we sell 23,300 put option and we hedge it by buying the 23,100 put option. So this is what some traders can consider. See, the risk reward is not favorable in this particular strategy. In terms of risk reward, it is slightly a bad strategy, because I'll explain it through an example. The loss can be much more higher compared to the profit, but there are traders who do not have the who do not want to pay the premium and they want to receive the capital right at the start of the strategy. So the maximum loss is the difference between the two strike prices minus the net premium that you have received. So the net premium that we receive by selling 23,300 put option as well as buying the 23,100 put option, suppose it is 60. So 60 is what we have received, and the difference between the two strike prices is 200 points. So 200 minus 60, 140 into 75, that is the maximum loss that we can incur in this particular trade. So the maximum loss can be 10,500, taking into consideration that the lot size for Nifty has recently changed from 25 to 75, and the maximum profit that we can incur is 60. जो प्रीमियम हमने कलेक्ट किया है स्टार्ट में, that is the maximum profit that we can incur through this particular strategy. So this is another way to play out the bullish momentum in the market. Even though the risk reward is not so favorable, there are many traders who often consider doing a credit bull spread strategy. Now coming to the important points while trading in the index options segment. See, by nature, this particular product is very volatile. Not everyone is comfortable trading in options. And if you are doing so, if you are trading in index options, always trade them with a stop loss. Stop loss के बिना कभी trade मत करना index options में, whether it is an intraday position or whether it is positional. There are many traders who will feel कि अगर मैंने 100 पे लिया and we have maintained a stop loss at 70. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि इंडेक्स ऑप्शंस में कम टुवर्ड्स 68 67 लेवल्स ट्रिगर आवर स्टॉप लॉस and once again move towards 120 130 levels, but this happens 2-3 times in 20-30 trades. But the day you do not maintain a stop loss, the index price will come from 100 all the way towards 20-15 levels on the downside. फिर उधर से रिकवर करना कैपिटल को इज एक्सट्रीमली चैलेंजिंग एंड डिफिकल्ट. सी 20 to 100 is a 5x return which is expected to recover just your losses, and that is an extremely challenging thing. It is extremely difficult on your brain to do revenge or reverse trading. So at that time, taking a 30-25 point stop loss is the best thing that you can do. It does not mean that you are a bad trader. Stop loss लगना इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि आपका व्यू गलत है, या see the view is definitely wrong over there, but it does not mean you're a bad trader. It just means that that particular trade of yours has gone wrong. There are multiple opportunities for in the market to recover your losses, and you can take some time out, reassess the market, and then again take a position. But always, if you're doing intraday or positional trading, always do it with a strict stop loss in the derivative segment. So these are the few examples that I have taken based on the recent price action in index options. तो आप देख सकते हो एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट में कितना वॉलेटिलिटी है. ये बैंक निफ्टी का ऑप्शन है. प्रीवियसली व्हेन बैंक निफ्टी वाज एक्सट्रीमली volatile, we used to witness movement from 300 all the way towards 1100 and then back to 300 levels. ये सब 15-20 मिनट के अंदर ही हो सकता है. It's not that it takes a long time for bank nifty options to spike up by 500-600 points. So that's why even if you identify a breakout, it is important to close out your position as well. You will not be able to ride the entire trend. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि अगर ऑप्शन 300 से 1100 तक गया है तो आप पूरा 700 रुपए कैप्चर कर पाओगे. बहुत बार आपको मार्केट का वॉलेटिलिटी में 200-300 पॉइंट में आपको बुक करना पड़ेगा. दैट इज द गेम. दैट्स व्हाट यू आर प्लेइंग फॉर. You are not playing to capture the entire 700 point movement. That's not possible for anyone. But you can take multiple trades along the way as long as you maintain a strict stop loss. Stop loss बच गया तो you close out the position, because you never know कौन से point पे market actually reverse हो सकता है. It is extremely difficult to anticipate when the complete reversal will come about. Every time you will feel कि और ऊपर जा सकते हैं, और ऊपर जा सकते हैं, but that is an extremely difficult thing to predict when the actual reversal will come. The only thing that you can do when you take a trade is maintain your stop losses, and agar reversal aa jata hai, you blindly follow your stop loss and close out your position. See, it is very easy to tell maintain stop loss, maintain stop loss. जब ये actual पैसा लगता है, I agree it is a very challenging thing, but that is the type of mentality that the trader should have. अगर ये mentality नहीं रहेगा, it becomes extremely challenging if you are doing short term trading. You have to be mentally very fit to take the particular stop loss, close out your position, and if an opportunity comes in the reverse direction, immediately take a reverse position as well. Index options requires you to be very flexible in your view. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि आज का पूरा दिन तेजी की तरफ ही हमको ट्रेड कर रहा है या मंदी की तरफ ही ट्रेड करना है. Multiple times there will be multiple directions the index moves in. It may give you 300-400 points on the upside. Suddenly you will get an opportunity to short the market as well. So you should be extremely quick, nimble footed to close out one particular trade and to take out a trade on the other direction. So these are few examples of price action which we have seen in index options. So that's why I tell always consider to trade with a strict stop loss. Now moving to another concept which is known as selecting the right strike price. See, बहुत बार पब्लिक का व्यू is correct. आपका व्यू रह सकते हैं कि मार्केट में एक रिकवरी आ सकता है या फिर तेजी आ सकता है, but multiple times traders select the wrong strike price. Now suppose the index is trading at 23,300. Just because today the 23,500 call option price was very cheap, a lot of people went ahead and bought 23,500 call option. But you need to understand, looking at the price action, उतना का रेंज का मूवमेंट आ सकता है कि नहीं. आज के ट्रेडिंग सेशन पे इनिशियल 1 आवर के ट्रेडिंग का पैटर्न देख के ही पता चल रहा था कि आज के सेशन में लुकिंग एट द 5 मिनट कैंडल्स द इंडेक्स वाज एक्सट्रीमली रेंज बाउंड, और कोई बहुत ही कम चांस था कि इंडेक्स 23,500 के लेवल्स तक आज जा सकता था. इफ यू हैड सीन द कॉन्सेप्ट और अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डेल्टा, डेल्टा बेसिकली टेल्स अस द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ सक्सेस व्हेन यू आर सिलेक्टिंग अ स्ट्राइक प्राइस. अगर आप एट द मनी ऑप्शन बाय करते हो, उसका डेल्टा जो है, सी फॉर अ डेल्टा फॉर 23,300 कॉल ऑप्शन इज 0.5. इसका ये मतलब है there is 50% chance that the index will close about 23,300 at the time of expiry, or it will close below 23,300 at the time of expiry. 50% is a very good figure when you're trading. If you select the 23,500 call option, it had a probability of just 0.05. मतलब 5% चांस था आज के सेशन में कि इंडेक्स एक 200 पॉइंट का रिकवरी कर दे. So while selecting the strike price itself, अगर आपने हमारे कॉल्स ट्रैक किए रहेंगे, 99 और 95% all the strikes that we give are at the money strike prices. We hardly give any deep out of the money call or put options, because there is significant risk and the risk reward pattern does not favor you. मतलब इसका ये मतलब है, अगर आप रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट देखोगे, इट इज ऑलवेज मच बेटर फॉर एट द मनी ऑप्शंस कंपेयर्ड टू deep out of the money options. So majority of the traders who are trading for the view on the market, मतलब उनका डायरेक्शन के ऊपर व्यू है, and they are trying to capture the current price action in the market. So delta is a very good tool to understand what is the probability of success of the strike price that you are selecting. So now take the example, today's example itself. So suppose today we take an example that there is a trader who buys a slightly out of the money option. Suppose he buys the 23,500 option when so you buy 20. So this is an old example that I have made. That is, the index is currently trading closer towards 25,400, and a trader considers to buy the 25,550 call option. So just 150 points away. But if the range for the particular week is narrow, then even that strike price will not work out. So through this example, I have selected or highlighted that even if your view is correct, अगर आपका view भी correct रहा, and by the end of the 4-5 trading sessions, if the index goes up by 150 points also, by selecting a deep out of the money option, your position will still become zero, because the settlement that happens based on the spot prices. So the spot price at the time of expiry should be higher than the strike price that you have selected. See, अगर आप intraday trade कर रहे हो, you can always close out your position at any point of time. But there are a lot of traders जो पोजिशनल व्यू लेके ट्रेड करते हैं, मतलब वो लोग ऐसा व्यू बनाते हैं कि बाय द टाइम एक्सपायरी कम्स, द इंडेक्स विल बी अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर लेवल, एंड दे ट्रेड बेस्ड ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर व्यू. सो इफ यू सिलेक्ट अ स्लाइटली आउट ऑफ द मनी स्ट्राइक प्राइस, भले ही आपका व्यू सही जा रहा है, बट बाय सिलेक्टिंग द रॉन्ग स्ट्राइक प्राइस, you are not able to generate the entire return on that particular trade. This is another example that I would like to highlight. This is just based on अगर price action है, the best price action is captured in at the money options. अगर दूर out of the money option है, तो भले ही 100-150 पॉइंट का इंडेक्स में रिकवरी आ जाता है, the out of the money option will just move by 10-15 points, while the at the money option will move by at least 50 to 60 points in your favor. So that's what we are trying to capture. We are trying to capture the maximum return on an investment. There are many who want to trade in very cheap premiums, बट उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी भी बहुत कम है. 1-2 महीने में ही एक बार ऐसा मूवमेंट आ सकता है जिसमें निफ्टी 500 से 1000 पॉइंट का मूवमेंट दे सकता है, बट दोज आर वेरी रेयर इवेंट्स. if you trade regularly to capture those type events, majority of the time you will be on the losing side. Now coming to few important points that you should always keep at your back of the mind. अगर आप इंडेक्स में ट्रेड कर रहे हो, तो हाईएस्ट रिस्क जो रहता है वो नेकेड शॉर्ट सेलिंग ऑफ कॉल ऑप्शंस एंड पुट ऑप्शंस है. वेदर इफ यू आर डूइंग इट पोजिशनल, देन इट इज इवन मोर रिस्की. अगर इंट्राडे है तो फिर भी आप आपका पोजिशन काट सकते हो एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. बट इफ यू आर डूइंग नेकेड सेलिंग ऑफ कॉल एंड पुट ऑप्शंस, दैट इज पोजिशनल, and tomorrow if there is a gap up or a gap down opening, that's the maximum risk that you have in the market. The other strategies which have higher risk are the short straddle or the condor strategies. Then we have the spread strategies, and the least is buying of call and put options. So this is the pyramid structure for the risk for the different option strategies that you can consider. Once again, I'll just like to summarize the key points that I have covered. And always trade options. अगर stock option हो या index option हो या cash में भी हो, always trade with a strict stop loss. And जब भी आप trade ले रहे हो, उसी टाइम पे आपको डिसाइड करना है कि आपका स्टॉप लॉस कितना है, ना कि जब ट्रेड रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन में जाए. सी देयर आर मेनी ट्रेडर्स who do not decide the stop loss at the time of taking the trade. जब भी स्टॉक या अंडरलाइन 10-15% करेक्ट हो जाता है, उसके बाद वो लोग डिसाइड करते हैं दैट वी विल बी मेंटेनिंग फर्दर 2-3% लोअर इज वेयर इज गोइंग टू बी आवर स्टॉप लॉस. लेकिन तब तक पोजीशन में काफी डैमेज हो जाता है, कैपिटल में काफी बड़ा नुकसान आ जाता है, एंड देन वी कंसिडर, फिर उसके बाद क्या होता है, वो 2-3% नीचे जाएगा, फिर वापस एक रिवर्सल आ जाता है, देन वी फील दैट अरे वी शुड हैव नॉट मेंटेन्ड अ स्टॉप लॉस इटसेल्फ, बट दैट इज नॉट हाउ द गेम ऑफ ट्रेडिंग इज प्लेड आउट. यू शुड ट्रेड विथ अ प्री डिफाइंड रिस्क सिस्टम. आपको पहले ही मालूम रहना चाहिए कि ऑल द ट्रेड्स, इट्स नॉट दैट सर्टन ट्रेड्स यू विल डू विद 2% स्टॉप लॉस, कोई कोई ट्रेड 4% स्टॉप लॉस. वॉट एवर यू आर ट्रेडिंग इन, the stop loss should always be fixed as well as your target levels. So that's how, if you bring about consistency over 50 to 100 trades, you will come out on the winning side. The other point is leverage. Leverage is a very useful tool. जब भी मार्केट वन डायरेक्शनल ऊपर के डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है या नीचे के डायरेक्शन में करेक्शन हो रहा है, it is a very wonderful tool to use and make the maximum out of it. But when the markets get choppy और कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं रहता है, that time it is better to reduce the leverage position. The last point is hedge strategy, जो मैंने बार बार कहा है कि अगर आप पोजीशन को कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर रहे हो फॉर द नेक्स्ट ट्रेडिंग डे, always consider to do it in a hedged manner rather than naked buying of call and put options. So that's an end of today's session. Thank you to all our friends for taking the time out and having attended our session today. In this particular month, we have three more webinars on technical and derivatives, and we have few webinars from the fundamental team as well. So please, I would request all our friends and participants who have joined today's session, please do join in for that particular session as well. And do note that we have recently launched Sensex options. So the expiry for Sensex is on Tuesday. It's a tool like Nifty, wherein you can trade the underlying. It's quite volatile in nature. A lot of traders who get used to it will get a feeling that they are trading Bank Nifty itself, the type of movement. It's quite the underlying is quite similar to Nifty. Nifty has 50 stocks. In Sensex, we have 30 stocks, and we have started giving calls and recommendations in Sensex as well. So soon you will be getting these recommendations as well. But one thing, please do note that with volatility comes sharp movement as well. So if it is in your favor, it's a very good thing. But if it goes against you, without any hesitation, please do consider applying the stop loss and close out your position if the trade goes against you. So like I mentioned, we'll be having a special webinar for Sensex. We'll be explaining how to track Sensex options, what are the key stocks which drive the movement within Sensex, what are the weightage for the key stocks. All that we'll be having in a special webinar, which is there on 28th of this particular month. In advance, we'll be informing the date as well as the timing. So thank you once again. And now we can start with the Q&A session. So I'll just go through all the questions through one by one, and participants who have any questions regarding the particular topic itself, we will be discussing. So there is a first question due to gamma. So please help me. I have Nifty 23,200. So first question. So we have a trader who has the position in 23,200 put option. So the view is right. See, still the markets have not completely reversed on the upside. Still there is a feeling of fear in the market. 100 points, we are just 100 points away. Spot price is just at 23,300 levels. We have 15, we have almost 10 to 12 more trading sessions. And our view also at the current juncture has still not reversed majorly. At any point of time, we could get a correction in the index. The main level to watch out for would be 23,100. Agar 23,100 ke niche, that is on spot, we witness a breakdown below 23,100, then we can witness a further 200-300 point correction in Nifty in the next few trading sessions. So please do trade, but do trade it with a stop loss. जब भी आप position ले रहे हो, identify the risk that you can take for that particular trade and consider maintaining a stop loss as well. See, because even though how much ever we tell, if the index moves by 200-300 points on the upside, your option premium also may deteriorate. So that's the risk that we have while trading in options. But overall, at the current juncture, the major trend or the trend from a short term perspective is still on the bearish side, even though we have 3 days of slight pullback that we have seen in the market. The next question is due to gamma. I am still not able to get the question. If you are able to ask me the question once again, what exactly do you mean by it? I'll be able to explain it better. So there is a question how to identify oversold or overbought. So RSI is one such tool, which is a momentum indicator, which gives you an understanding of oversold and overbought. But there is no clear-cut tool, sir. See, I'll just tell it frankly, because an RSI can be in oversold zone for a long period of time as well. Price action is the only one thing which will tell us that the particular thing is in oversold zone and the recovery has come. That recovery comes only when the price action comes. So an RSI which is there at 20 levels can be for a very long time, it can be in oversold zone, or a particular stock which is having an RSI of 75-80 for a very prolonged period, the stock can be in oversold zone. So price action, if you combine with the RSI, will give you at least an idea that a particular stock or an index is in oversold zone. So if you see currently Nifty, it is slightly on the oversold zone. It's not completely oversold zone. If you saw Nifty next 50, that particular RSI had reached almost levels of 17. That is the mid cap stocks or the next stocks of the index. So clearly that particular index had reached its oversold zone. In 3-4 trading sessions, there was extremely heavy selling pressure, which was seen in the mid cap and the small cap counters. So that particular index hit the levels of 17, and from there we have witnessed in the last 3-4 trading sessions a slight pullback in the mid cap space. So anyone who has been tracking the markets will know that that's where the real pullback has actually come in the last 2-3 trading sessions, that is in the small cap and the mid cap space. So that's how you can make use of price action and RSI to combine it to identify whether it is a stock is in an oversold zone and whether the actual pullback is coming or not. That's also important. It just because the stock is oversold or overbought does not mean that the trend cannot continue. So there is a question, is it proper to carry forward bank nifty call generally if expiry is 15 to 20 days? See, the only thing is the challenge is the price action is generally not a one directional thing like a stock. If there is sometimes in stock, what happens is the trend is smooth, then it for 3-4 trading sessions it will move in one direction itself. But that's not the case with options. Options multiple times within the day itself will be very heavy fluctuations tend to be there. So even though you are able to get your view right, you should be able to digest the volatility and the price action. So if you are able to do that, then well and good. But for a normal trader, it is better to do it with a stop loss and to do it in a spread manner, where that is, if you buy a call option, also consider selling a slightly out of the money call option. The cost of your transaction also comes down, your risk reward is mitigated, and you are able to hold your position. See, I agree, by doing a strategy like this, your cost of the transaction goes up, because if you are just buying a call option, it is one price. But if you are selling a higher out of the money call option, the cost of the transaction comes up. But the exchange gives a benefit that if it knows that it is doing, if you're the trader is doing a hedge trade, you get margin benefit and the cost of the transaction also comes down. So it is ideally advisable to do hedge strategies rather than a naked buying of call and put options, that is if you are carrying forward your trade for 10-15 trading sessions. Yeah, so there is a question, will we receive the recording? This recording is there on YouTube itself. So if you go to our handle on YouTube, all the webinars that we have done on this particular platform, all the recordings will be there itself. So at any point of time, you can go through the webinars, and we have a list of webinars that we'll be doing in this particular month. We have a new analyst also who has joined us, and he'll also be taking a few webinars in the following week. And we'll be having going forward new sessions as well to resolve your stock specific queries. Also, we have a colleague of us who will be doing webinars on a regular basis. So if you have any stock specific queries, on a day-to-day basis also, we'll be more than happy to address it in those webinars. So ask us anything is the name of the webinar that we'll be holding on a regular basis. So at that point of time, you can definitely ask your stock specific queries. So there is a question, I receive call option when goes up significant amount, then I never come out and profit. So I was not able to understand the question. So most of the chart indicators seem inaccurate during expiry day and it is not good enough to do accurate entry. See, indicators by nature are lagging tools. There is no clear one directional indicator, sir, which will tell you. But you always have to combine it with price action. Price action is the most important tool to do trading in. You can make use of short-term averages, moving averages. Like we make use of a 34 period average. That is the 34 period high and low. If it is generally the particular index is above those particular averages, we generally tend to take a long position, and if it is below those averages we generally tend to take a short position. And everyone is comfortable, it is then you have to decide which time frame you are comfortable in while trading. For me personally, I prefer to do index trading on a 5 minute time frame, that is a 5 minute candlestick. It is sufficient enough time to respond. There are people who do it on a 3 minute candle as well. 1 minute is very less, because many times you will get sucked into a trade and it may be a false breakout or a breakdown. So the ideal time frame you can consider is about 5 minute time frame. Indicators, I do not know which indicator specifically you're speaking about, but all indicators, most of them are lagging indicators. That is, once the price action comes about, it will reflect in it. But RSI is a good indicator. It is one which moves with generally gives a good indication at least about the momentum of the market. So whenever the index has an RSI above 60, even if there is a slight pullback and all, you know that more or less the momentum is on the upside. So you can trade if there is a pullback, you can consider to do more of buying rather than selling of the particular underlying. Yeah, so with that, I would like to conclude the session due to the time constraint. But please do note that all the suggestions that you provide, we take all your suggestions. Do note that there is no suggestion that we do not take. If there is any negative criticism also, we take it positively and we will try to improve to the best of our capabilities. Do note that if there is any suggestion from your side as well regarding any particular topic or any particular content that you would require, we will definitely note it down, and going ahead we'll have multiple such sessions, both in technical and derivative, on a regular basis. Thank you so much to all our friends for having taken the time out and having attended today's session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.